Okay, then I try to sum up a little bit. And first of all, I want to thank you for this nice discussion, because I think, yeah, maybe for the for spreading the word, it would have been nicer to have a little bit more people in the round. But I think for discussion, it's always nice to have small groups. And I'm really happy that really everybody contributed. And I think that what we had in mind, also Kaya and I, when we were discussing how this format could look like, because at first we only had a name, which is Meetup. My feeling is that it worked well, in the sense that we didn't have like a strict agenda to follow up, but just a topic and then discuss and get different views. And I also have the feeling that, starting from the example of the two Andreases, but also with enriching it from all your perspectives, and also even from Michael's perspective, from partly outside of the tourism industry, I think two things in the very center. And I think this is the story about people, speaking the language about people. It's a people industry, so it's always about connecting people and working together. And I mean, cooperation is already, I think, a theoretical construct, but in the end, it's people who have to do something together, who have to work together because they're in the same company, who want to work together because they share the same values. But it is about people, about convincing, about discussion. And I think this is also why it's always complex and never, I think you can never have it 100% straight. Also, if we follow these examples that we thought were good examples, the last one, Andreas giving of Mauritius and the new way of product development, I would say, yes, that's great. But on the other hand, also, it's so much more complex than it was before. And also, when we think about sustainable destination development, before for a destination, it was easy. They wanted more. And to make, for that, you needed more money, more commercials, better products. But the goal was easy. I think now with sustainability, also that is has become very complex. And first you have to define your goals and then think about how to measure it and how to reach it. But what I also liked, and I think this is also from all the examples that that you have shared from your companies, is this fun part, and together with the fun part, also this communication part, that you cannot really point the fingers and tell, and we have to be more sustainable, and it's so important. You don't get people with this way. So you have to make it fun. And also, when we're thinking of this difference between the owners and maybe also employees, as an owner, we learned you have to have the fire and keep the fire burning. But on the other hand, I think you're also there to be the translator, or you have to translate from this, let's say, a little bit more theoretical and structural approach to an approach where it becomes fun and something you like to do. Because I think it's in the end, we have to find a way to tackle sustainability in a way that we want to do it and not that we have to do it. So this is for me the essence. And I think we found then some ingredients that will help us. So I think communication was a key point, but also, yeah, let's say on different levels, and together with the communication, the networking, and Andreas, what you said with the quality of the relationship that also comes when you share the same values. And I think the examples that you that you all put, they all point in this direction. And I think in the end, also, that is something that I was at a conference about sustainable tourism last week, where we, or actually a couple of meetings about this topic in the last weeks, and something that kept coming up in my head is this also, that you cannot leave every decision to the customer. I think this is also something that we have to think, because I think the tourism industry, and also often the big associations of the tourism industry, they have to say, okay, if the customer doesn't want it, then we don't need to do it, or it's the responsibility of the customer. So if they don't compensate for their CO2 footprint, then we don't need to bring it. So in the end, we can blame the customer because he's not asking for it. But I think is really making things way too easy. And I think in this context where we are working, I think we have understood this, but I think also it's important that the customer, he wants to have a nice holiday experience at the first place, or as Michael put it, he wants to buy a nice sail yacht. So the basics have to be right. But then it's about putting the right ingredients in, where he doesn't have to make a choice all the time. He makes the choice at the first place, but he doesn't have to make a choice at every step once he is on the road. And I think this is also something that, yeah, that we need to keep working on. But I think this is also something, when we're in this circle where we're all already quite committed, it's nice to talk with each other and to we don't really have to do much convincing, only learning and hopefully inspiring and learning from each other. But I think it's also important then to spread the word. So, and I think this is also something, yeah, I think we were going to do with Tourban. We will do with this recording, so we will see if a lot of people will watch this. Yeah, and there's still time for last words. But other than that, I'm done with what I wrote down and trying to make sense of my own handwriting.